We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. I just have something to say. I am very feel. Tim Bradley, he hates on Oleksandr Usyk, stating that despite being a two-time undisputed champion, Oleksandr Usyk, I am very feel, is not an all-time great. So leave it to your boy Ego, the best in the business, and it's not even close, to really deep dive and explore this concept, shall we? But first, make sure, listen, we just hit 66,000. We can do it. Link in the description. There's my threads. It's the same as my Instagram at BoxingEgo1. You know, make sure you go over there. I'm trying to hit 75,000. I'm going to end up eventually passing my first Instagram page. So we doing numbers over there. Please support. Tim Bradley, I'm going to let you listen to what he said, and then I will give more so my thoughts. Roll the clip.
Heavyweights of this era does not make him an all-time great. Usyk.
We're going to run that back because I don't think y'all could hear the sound. Roll the clip. You guys should be able to hear it now.
And I'm not even going to talk about the fight right now. But all this all-time great shit that's going on? All-time great? Are you kidding me? Man, look. Recency bias. Just because he beat the two best heavyweights of this era does not make him an all-time great. Usyk. That's what I'm talking about. Usyk. He is not an all-time great. Y'all need to stop with that. Literally has 7 fights, fought 5 guys in the heavyweight division. Okay, I can understand he got accolades. He cleaned out the division at welterweight. Not at welterweight, my bad. He cleaned out the division in the cruiserweight. I get that. Now he comes to the heavyweight. All right. I would say somewhat, I wouldn't say clean out, but yeah, he beat the 2 best guys in the division, right? And now y'all saying he's all-time great. No, he got like 22 fights? Come on, man. Wow. Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop it. He a legend. First of all, I'm gonna start, and I'm not even gonna talk about the fight right now. But all this all-time great shit that's going on, all-time great.
Yo, all right, time for my take, bro. I say the same thing because it's true. There's a lot of low-quality content in the boxing space where, you know, everybody's an analyst, everybody's an expert, and it's just low quality. Like the thoughts, the takes, they're ice cold. It's ice cold takes. And Oleksandr Usyk, I don't know what it is about him particularly, but he's a beast and he don't get his full credit, in my opinion. You would swear that Oleksandr Usyk was a black fighter the way people be hating on him. And don't be crying in the comments, oh, why'd you say black? Change the channel. If you don't like it, if you don't like the content, you don't like the commentary, I don't really care. It's not going to change. Again, I'm going to say it again to make y'all mad. You would think that Oleksandr Usyk was a black fighter the way that people be hating on him so much. So shout out to the brother Usyk. I have always been an Usyk fan, but I don't let fanboyism cloud my judgment. it's not like I never just give a fighter something because I like the way they fight or like their interviews. Usyk earned everything that he gets from me in terms of respect. Like, he's earned the respect. It's not like what Tim Bradley is saying. Nobody gifted himself. So, for starters, I keep telling y'all I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. I listened to this on the fly, right? So this is not rehearsed where I heard this a bunch of times, and I'm already spotting errors in what he just said, like factual errors. So why is it that a former pro fighter, you're doing commentary now? Your commentary is not even accurate. He said that Usyk fought 5 times as an amateur, or he said, 5 times as a heavyweight, which immediately I know is cap. This is how I know it's cap. Because between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, meet with me, it's mad. Between those two people, he got 4 fights. So you mean to tell me that he only fought one more time? No. Because remember the whole infamous low blow with Daniel Dubois? That's already a 5th fight. But what about his fights with Derek Chisora? And it was supposed to be Tyrone Sprong, but he failed a PED test, banned substance, so they brought in Chaz Tablespoon. So again, I'm so great at what I do that I don't have to rehearse. I don't need cue cards. I don't need a teleprompter, and I could already spot the flaw. You said the man had only 5 fights at heavyweight, but he got 4. He had like majority of 4 with just 2 guys. So I knew that wasn't true right when it came out of his mouth. Pause. You're not even being accurate. So it's like, how do you have a vlog, a podcast, or, just put your public out and you're down? First of all, the other thing that don't make sense is you're downing Usyk. You're like denigrating what he's done, right? And saying, oh, da-da-da-da. But you're not even encapsulating his true resume. So how does that work? How does that work that you're doing allegedly a scientific breakdown on Usyk, but then your facts aren't even straight? Inquiring minds want to know. But let your boy Ego, the best in the business, and it's not even close. Let me keep cooking. The other thing to me, just off of like first watching of what Tim Bradley said, that sounds bonkers, absolutely insane, is he said not once, I think he said it twice. See, I pay attention to what people be saying to see if it makes sense. I don't just like talk over him. I didn't even say nothing the whole time he was talking, right? But he said it more than once in this short clip. He said, yeah, you beat the top 2 heavyweights in the division, but, and then later on in this, he said, you beat the top 2 guys. Who says that? Who says, yeah, you beat the top 2 heavyweights, the top 2 guys of your division, but so what, basically? Don't even make sense. Yeah, you beat the top 2 guys at heavyweight, but that ain't enough. You know what I mean? So it just sounds like he hating. The other thing is, I've pushed this line for a minute because I've been online for a minute. That's a bar. I said I pushed this hard line for a minute because I've been online for a minute. That's a bar, right? The bottom line is this. This is my next point. Oleksandr Usyk of Ukraine. And I'm not trying to create funk or a riff because I know he's friends with him. Usyk is better than Lomachenko. He's harder to beat, and he's unbeaten, right? And I've stated this for quite some time. The funny thing is, you have ESPN that be glazing Lomachenko, right? So let's go line for line, bar for bar, and look at Lomachenko and look at Usyk. He said, man, how you got 20-something fights. You got 23 fights. How are you an all-time great? Okay, guess what? Lomachenko has 21 fights. He has less fights. So what are we talking about? Because, again, as I just mentioned, we know for a fact that ESPN be glazing Lomachenko. So a guy with this record, 21 fights 18 wins, 3 losses, never been knocked out. They'll call him at 36 also. They'll call him a legend and the man all day, but then they'll hate on my boy Usyk. It's not making sense. Usyk is 1 year older, so they're in the same age group. They're both southpaws. Furthermore, I would like to add to the conversation that I am of the belief that cruiserweight to heavyweight is perhaps the hardest jump in boxing, because you look at like some of them little weights, like you could go 2-3 pounds and you in a new weight class. And yeah, I know it probably feels different to the fighters down there, but it's still like you can have 4 weight classes separated by less than 10 pounds. You know what I mean? That's different. Usyk is going from cruiserweight. The reason why I believe that cruiserweight to heavyweight is probably the hardest jump, because you're going from 200 pounds basically to unlimited weight. We don't have a super heavy. This is not amateur. We don't have a super heavyweight and a heavyweight. So what does that mean? Usyk got to fight giants. He got to fight 6'4" Dubois with cracks. He got to fight 6'6" Brolic Joshua with cracks. He got to fight a 6'9", behemoth, pear-shaped Tyson Fury with an insane reach who can box and had, big fight experience with Wilder and Trilogy and the Klitschko. You know what I mean? So that's the harder jump to me, because to go from having to make weight to people can weigh whatever they want is crazy. The other thing is, we know historically that Usyk is not the biggest guy. He tells you. He says, I got to eat, do a lot of protein daily. I might even drop back down to cruiserweight now that I've done the deal, sealed the deal with Fury in the second fight. But Usyk, in his fight, look, he be 221, 217, 215, and then now we back to cruiserweight. So that's the other thing. He's not like, what's old boy, Lawrence Okoli. Lawrence Okoli moved up, and then he weighed 260 something because he got a big frame, and I don't know. For whatever reason, he weighed like 260, and he got a first round knockout recently at heavyweight. Usyk is doing this, and he not weighing 260, 250. He not in them big boy weights like that, like the bigger heavyweights. So you got to give him credit. And Dubois is a champion now, and I'm not going to spoil it and keep talking about the low blow. And I do think it was a fair shot, but the judges didn't see it or whatever. The ref, it is what it is. So Dubois should have built from that, but he kind of checked out after that moment. Maybe he was so deflated, whatever. So I find Tim Bradley to be hating. I really do. I think he's hating because it's like, how is it that Oleksandr Usyk ain't an all-time great? And here's the thing. When somebody says all-time great, nobody is really, from what I've seen, they're not really placing Usyk as like the creme de la creme, like, oh, he's the number one for sure. They're just saying he's in the all-time great conversation. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. Evander Holyfield made the jump, and he's the all-time great. Usyk did it and fought everybody that he could and relevant people. Because, to be honest, Evander Holyfield, he fighting Lennox Lewis, who's an amazing fighter, but he like 6'5". Mike Tyson, he 5'9", 5'10". You know what I mean? Usyk, in this generation, the heavyweights be bigger. So there's some trade-off. Maybe the heavyweights of old are better, but now people utilize weight more, and there's different ways to add on muscle real quick, or different like workouts and circuit training and stuff you could do. So there's certain trade-offs to each generation of sports, right? So I just feel like Tim Bradley always has some like insane hot take, and it's like you're looking like Jerry Springer. Anybody in boxing who is like rage baiting and seems to always have these points of views that cause like calamity and people call you a hater and stuff. I feel like a lot of people are doing that for rage baiting. Like either that or you're just like you don't really know boxing as much as you think, or you're a hater, or whatever's going on. But and then the other thing is people are going to look at Bradley's record. Bro, you're talking about Usyk. What about your record? Your claim to fame is what? Marquez. That was a good win. And what? You arguably lost to Pacquiao 3 times, to be honest. That's just being real. So what? You stepped in the ring with Pacquiao 3 times but lost? Should have lost? Barely getting by Ruslan Provodnikov. So it's like, you know what I mean? People are going to start looking at, when you start having these crazy, Usyk ain't great and stuff, people are going to start looking at you go to someone else's house and say, oh, your house is dirty. They're going to, next time they come to your house, they're going to be checking out, oh, what about that? Look at them cobwebs. Oh, you need to sweep. Y'all don't do the kitchen around here. You know what I mean? Like, you're opening that floodgate. Because if Usyk ain't an all-time great, but then you just made the Hall of Fame. So you an all-time great, but Usyk ain't. And furthermore, like I said, Lomachenko. None of these ESPN commentators have any problem putting this record as prime. And I'm going to say it again. There's nobody that is black, a black fighter, that could have 21 fights or whatever, have a record like 18-3, and get the praise that Lomachenko get, right? So to me, Usyk has always been ahead of his class in the hardest, because there's similarities. They're both southpaw, they're both friends, they're both Ukrainian, they both can box, they both have the same manager. At one point, I think Lomachenko's daddy was even training Usyk. So at the same time, there's some similarities, but career-wise and path-wise, Usyk has pulled away and done some different things. Lomachenko won't even go to 140. Give your body a break, go to 140. He don't even want to. But you got Lomachenko, who's praised constantly. Usyk continues to get this weird slander, and he keeps proving people wrong. People said Tyson Fury is going to beat him, and he's focused now. He didn't talk to his wife in 3 months, so he's going to come and ambush Usyk and be prepared for a war. But it was Usyk in the back half of the rematch where he really started pulling away and showing separation on Fury. And Fury kind of had his hands in his pocket and was losing. He got hurt. He was losing handedly. So it's like, how are we not going to give Usyk props for this? Like, what makes you an all-time great then? What do you got to do? And don't give me like, oh, you got to move up 3 and 4 weight classes. That's not everybody's story. Marvin Hagler is an all-time great, rest in peace. He didn't move up 3 and 4 weight classes. He stayed in the same weight class. So it's like people pick and choose who they want to be all-time great. Just give it up and admit that Usyk's a young legend in the game, and just keep it pushing and keep it rocking. Anything less than that, he won the Super Six. Like, what more do you have to do as a boxer, right? He won a gold medal, right, in the Olympics. So as an amateur, he did what De La Hoya did. And De La Hoya is an all-time great. You got a gold medal. You turned pro and stayed undefeated at cruiserweight, winning the World Boxing Super Series, the Ali Trophy, and becoming undisputed, beating everybody pretty much in their backyard. You fought and beat the guys you beat, and you beat them in their backyard. So you're a road warrior. Then, after you did that, you fought a known guy who had just beaten David Haye at heavyweight twice by knockout in Tony Bellew, who was in the Creed movie, right? You beat him and you violently stop him, which only Adonis Stevenson is the only other person that I could think of that stopped Tony Bellew. And that was at light heavyweight earlier in his career. So you stopped Bellew violently. Your first 2 fights at heavyweight after you moved up were challenging because I don't think Usyk was – I think it was a weight thing. He just wasn't acclimated to the weight. Looking at how good Usyk is when you put him in with Joshua Dubois and Tyson Fury, I think your fights were bound to be challenging until you got used to the weight and like what heavyweight was hitting for. But when the names progressed, his game elevated. So he stayed undefeated at heavyweight, and then he started fighting Joshua, 6'6", former 2X champion, more powerful than him, bigger than him, longer reach than him, and he almost knocked out Joshua. He definitely hurt him. Joshua hurt him too, but I don't so much put a lot of stake and stock in that, that's what you're supposed to do. You 6'6", 260. You're supposed to hurt a smaller man. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't. It's like there's an old Chris Rock joke. He said, "I love black people, but I hate ninjas." And he's like, ninjas always brag about what they supposed to do. You supposed to. He's like, man, I take care of my kid. Ninja, you supposed to take care of your kid. Like, you bragging about taking care of your kids, that's a responsibility. You brought them into the world. You're supposed to do that. So that's how I look at boxing too, is I'm not giving as much credit for basic stuff. Like, oh, he showed heart. I mean, you're supposed to show heart, right? Or, oh, like a big, huge guy with a huge weight advantage and taller and longer reach hurt the smaller guy. I mean, you're really supposed to do that. And it's shocking that Tyson Fury, being as big as he is, couldn't hurt Usyk like that. He never dropped him or nothing. Usyk's never been dropped also. So it's like, what are we talking about? What does it take for the person to get the respect from a person like Tim Bradley to be considered all-time great? What is he doing? You literally say he beat the top two guys in the division, but then you, in the same breath, you saying he's not an all-time great. Sounds kind of weird to me, bro. Usyk can't help when he was born, so he's beholden to the competition that's out. And I will say this, we can have an argument, and I don't really want to have it, to be honest, but we can argue about past heavyweights versus this current generation of heavyweights. But at the same time, I mean, truthfully, we don't truly know. Like, how would Tommy Morrison or whoever from the 90s that you respected, how would they fare with a 6'6" Anthony Joshua or a 6'9" Tyson Fury? We don't really know, to be honest, because they're two different generations. It be like that. So you can't just discount his heavyweight competition like, oh, these guys is trash. Because truthfully, a guy who's 6'9" could give a past fighter potentially problems. Because who did you see, whoever, like Chris Bird or Ray Mercer or somebody, David Tua, when the last time they had to fight somebody who could box like Fury, but it was 6'9"? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all a guessing game and, personal taste. You know how they have a recipe and it tells you how to, and it'll say salt and pepper to taste? That's boxing to a degree. Some of this stuff is to taste. Some people might like Muhammad Ali as the GOAT. Some people might have Lennox Lewis as the GOAT, or even Jack Johnson. You know what I mean? You kind of have to salt and pepper it to taste. But to just outright decide, hey, I want to make a dedicated video telling the world how Usyk isn't an all-time great, that sounds crazy to me, and it sounds like hate. And for real, Usyk's my number one pound for pound right now. So I put him over Crawford. He's more active than Crawford. He fought Tyson Fury twice. Crawford ain't fought since Madrimov, and low-key kind of struggled with Madrimov in the first 9 rounds of the fight or so, right? And that's the other person, like Lomachenko. Crawford been 2X undisputed. He's definitely a talented fighter, but his resume, to me, I like Usyk's resume better than Crawford, because Crawford's best win is a wounded Errol Spence Jr. That's facts. There was nothing wrong with Fury. He was younger. He claimed to be stronger. He had the longer reach. He way bigger. And, you actually got a feel for a person like by fighting him, and Fury still didn't adjust, and this man beat him twice. So I put Usyk, in terms of pound for pound, I got to put him over Crawford, because Crawford is really just because of the resume. I think Usyk's resume is low-key stronger. Not even low-key. How many guys were bigger, like Forrest said, man, I could do this all day. Don't, I know y'all don't want to have this conversation. I'm going to leave it at that. Because it'll take me, I'll body y'all. I don't even want to have to do that right now. I'm trying to unpack this. I don't really want to have to body y'all. But Usyk dang near knocked out Michael Hunter. If you watched that, I think it was the final round. Michael Hunter has a win over Martin Bakole. Bakole is ripping through stuff right now, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like, that win over Michael Hunter aged nicely for Usyk. So just because maybe you didn't know some of the names at cruiserweight doesn't mean that they weren't valid and good fighters. So I just feel like give Usyk his props. Again, people had no problem giving Lomachenko or Crawford props. And then Usyk kind of did the same thing, if not more, because Loma was never really undisputed because he never fought Devin Haney at the time. So he never even achieved that. And right now it's going to be hard for him to achieve that because you would have to go through a guy like Tank, and he talking about retirement. So it's pretty much over for Loma trying to be undisputed, all right? And Crawford's been 2X undisputed, but so has Usyk, and Usyk had a tougher road to get it because Errol Spence did the heavy lifting. So, like, just hear what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying is valid. I know it's true. I know people are going to get mad and all that. I don't care. Listen to what I'm saying and tell me in the bottom of your heart it don't make sense. The difference being is Crawford had to fight one ninja. Errol did the heavy lifting, secured all the belts, went through a car windshield and an accident. This is facts. This is what happened in his career. Time off, rehab, layoffs, detached retinas, all these things. And then Crawford had to fight the one person who had been through all that, the good and the bad, the highs and the lows. He had to fight the one dude, and the one dude offered him a second gateway to undisputed. Usyk didn't have to fight just one. Like, imagine if Tyson Fury was the guy that just had all the keys. That would be different. This man, Usyk, he had to go through, like, I believe Dubois was his mandatory. So that was a dangerous heavyweight mandatory. Tyson Fury had the WBC, so he had to go through him, and then he had to go through Joshua. He had to go through a different type of gauntlet as opposed to fighting one person. Because when you fight one person, that's great, but that one person had been through a car accident. We know that. And that one person is, you just have to look good on that one night, and you've already set the history. Usyk had to look good on multiple nights to set his history for the second time and become undisputed. He had to go multiple, because if he would have beat Joshua and then lost to Dubois or lost to Fury, then he wouldn't be undisputed. And again, a guy moving to heavyweight and never been knocked down, and these guys are way bigger than him. We seen Crawford get knocked down for real versus Mean Machine. So listen, it is what it is. I know y'all don't want. I'm going scientific, bar for bar, line for line, and I know y'all don't want to have this conversation with Lomachenko, Usyk, or Crawford, Usyk. I know that, but if you want to play tough and act like you do, then let me know in the comment section. We unpack.